You can't hear because of it's Spec Ops The Lin. Fucking brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game. Alright, how you doing? I've been really stupid today. I got it into my head, like a hero, that I could do all-nighters, like I did all those moons ago. All those moons ago, yeah, when I was younger. Every year, I take part in a thing called the Rand Nerds 24-hour podcast, or the Rand Nerds 24-hour live stream. And we've been doing it for, I don't know how many years now, since 2018. But for the last few years, because of the global pandemic, I have been doing them solo. But I've had a bit of a stamina issue in recent times. I'm constantly exhausted. I'm old. And I didn't stream. I haven't been streaming a lot recently because the summer holidays, kids are home and all that. But yesterday I got the opportunity. Yesterday this morning, it was first thing this morning. I said to the wife, hey yo, would you mind if I just sat down and tried to play a game in a sitting? So I tried to play Spec Ops. Oh my God, I do not have the stamina for that stuff anymore. I have an issue with my hands whereby after a few hours my hands start to cramp up. And if I play on keyboard and mouse, you'll occasionally start to see my character like drift. Where I'll be accidentally kind of pressing buttons without meaning to. But I played on a PlayStation pad because I originally played Spec Ops on a Steam pad. Spec Ops is one of the games that I bought when I was doing Linux gaming because it had a Linux client. Well, I wanted that to be one of the first games I played through on my Steam Deck. And well, I've done it now. But that single sitting was not a thing. I could have done it after the first 4 hours, and that was, I was doing other stuff in between, so my be right back screen on the stream was up quite a bit. I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna go to bed. You could see when I started, I was popping heads like no problem. As time went on, my God, I was getting wrecked by the dumbest of things. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest, because I wanted to stream. I wanted to take a crack at Deus Ex Human Revolution, but I am terrible at that game. I would get wrecked in that game, like dead. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at that game at all. I was like, you know what, I'll put on Spec Ops, because I really like Spec Ops. I know what I'm doing in Spec Ops. Let's just get through it and have a good time, right? And I was dying almost as much as I expected to die in Deus Ex. Brutal. So I ended up going to bed for a couple of hours, getting up and starting again. And finished. But it's my gods, I'm old, or out of shape, or I don't know. Like, staying up for 24 hours isn't a problem. I'd already been up all day before, obviously, because I started at, 11 o'clock, 1 a.m.-ish, So I wasn't exactly running full steam anyway, but fucking hell. I don't know if I'd be able to do Rand Nerds 24 hours by myself. Again, I don't know. But I want to, because I don't want to break the streak. I don't want Rand Nerds 24 hours to go 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and then stop in 2022. I will find a way. Now, Spec Ops The Lin has an interesting little quirk on Steam Deck, in that I said it has a Linux client, right? It has a Linux client, but the Linux client doesn't work on Steam Deck. It just doesn't work. It doesn't support control pads at all. It's mouse and keyboard only. So if you look at Spec Ops on Steam Deck, it's got the circle with the line through it. No go on Steam Deck. And that's technically true. The Linux client, just it's not happy. It's not happy. It doesn't recognize controls. It doesn't recognize the Steam Pad's controls. And when you launch it, it doesn't try and launch at 720p like most games do in Steam Deck. It does, or 800p if you're playing it in the handheld mode. It kind of flakes out a bit. And the only way to exit the game is to just hard quit it. Like, you press your Steam menu and exit the game. However, if you hit properties, install the game, settings, properties, before you launch the game, so in the Steam menu, change your compatibility options to Proton 7 so you run the Windows version of the game, and it runs fine. Runs fine. Unfortunately, it took a while for me to realise that I was running the same configs as what I was using for my Steam pads, because when you use a Steam pad, generally profiles will say up your sensitivity in game to XYZ to have, you know, smooth motion or whatever. Yeah, I was still doing that on a PlayStation pad. That was not comfortable, but it was still very, very, very fun. And I love that game because it does not trivialize war. It's absolutely fantastic what Spec Ops The Lin does for war, and what war does to people and soldiers. Choices have to be made. You know, it's not necessarily a good choice, but it's the right choice, and the right choice doesn't always have to have a happy ending, kind of thing. It's I won't spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it, but I really do recommend it. It's a proper good, you know, if you want to get into the psychology of war, it's a really good one, and mechanically it's pretty solid, combat's pretty good, shooting's pretty good, but I will say that it's got context sensitive buttons, so like vaulting over walls and running to duck into cover. Those can be the same buttons. Vault and melee, I think, are the same buttons. So when you're trying to melee someone, you might find yourself vaulting over a wall if you're in the right place on a wall to vault. Or you might want to vault, but find that you're not at the right position at the wall to vault. So like you have to be like, let's say you can't be on this corner or whatever, you have to be like a little bit in from like the side of the wall to be able to vault it or whatever. But that's really my only gripe. Story-wise, it's fantastic. Characters I actually fucking like, and they're just supposed to be just regular old soldiers. Settings alright, takes place in Dubai. Solid destructible environments, because that was one of the selling points of it. Like, you could shoot out glass from underneath people's feet, or if, you know, there was like a pile up of sand, because you're in the middle of a big old storm, if there's a pile up of sand by like a window or something like that, you could shoot that out and it would bury the people who are trying to attack you and all that kind of stuff. The soundtrack's pretty solid. It's a good game, so I would recommend people give it a go. It does work on Steam Deck, even though it says it doesn't. Just change your Proton compatibility. But I'm gonna head off. This stream today has really made me think about how I stream and play games, but I'll probably have a wee chat about that tomorrow. Because I'm getting the groove. Streaming may be ruining games for me. Or maybe it has. But, yeah. Fuck, I'm old. See if Ram and Zaber will help me with the 24 hours somehow. I don't know if we can do it remotely. And that way we can do it in shifts like we did in 2019. But hope you're well. And I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one. At least I got to play a game through. It's fucking rad, right?